His breath was warm against my skin, his hands firm as they pulled me closer. Emily watched, her lips parted, eyes dark with something unspoken. Jake's fingers tightened around my waist, his pulse racing against mine. I turned to Emily, brushing a slow hand down her arm, feeling the electricity between us. "This is what you wanted, isn't it?" I murmured, her breath hitched. Jake exhaled sharply, and just like that, the last barrier between us disappeared. Before we begin, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. Your simple act helps this channel tremendously to grow and ensures you won't miss what's coming next. Now let's begin. Nights were the worst. I'd lie in bed, restless skin burning with a need that had no outlet. I wasn't used to this, to cold sheets, to quiet evenings, to going to sleep without the warmth of a body tangled with mine. It wasn't just loneliness, it was hunger, a deep aching kind that settled between my thighs, keeping me awake, making my fingers trail over my own skin, just to remember what it felt like to be touched. I wasn't shy about my desires, never had been. Some women bury that part of themselves as they get older, let it wither away into something they pretend not to need. Not me, I still wanted it. Craved it. The slow burn of anticipation, the pulse of a gaze dragging over my body, the kind of heat that made my breath hitch and my skin tingle. Then I saw him, Jake. He was outside shirtless, working on his car, strong, effortless. Completely at ease, I stood at my window watching, biting my lip as heat pulled deep in my stomach. It had been too long, and Jake, he was everything I'd been starving for. I wasn't reckless. I knew how to take my time, how to build tension until it became unbearable. It started small, a glance held a second too long. A casual stretch when I knew he was looking, my dress riding just high enough to tease. An innocent laugh that lingered as I let my fingers trail down his arm. Just barely, Jake noticed. I could see it, in the way his eyes flickered to me when he thought I wasn't looking, the way his breath hitched when I leaned in too close, the way his jaw tensed when I spoke in low, knowing tones. Emily, sweet little Emily, was none the wiser. She greeted me with bright smiles, unaware of the heat simmering just beneath the surface, unaware that every time Jake looked at me, it wasn't just casual, it was charged. I wasn't looking for love. I wasn't looking for commitment. I just wanted to feel it again. The pull, the anticipation, the thrill of knowing I could make a man lose himself completely. And Jake, he was already slipping. It started with an opportunity. Emily was out of town. Jake was alone. And I was waiting. I timed it perfectly. An evening walk, a casual accidental bump into him on the sidewalk. He caught me by the waist, steadying me, his grip firm, warm. The way his hands lingered sent a thrill through me. "You okay?" he asked. Concerned in his voice, I exhaled slowly, just enough to make my chest rise in a way that caught his attention. Let him notice. "Yeah," I murmured, placing a hand on his arm, feeling the solid muscle beneath my fingertips. "Just got a little dizzy." His gaze flickered to my lips. I saw it, felt it. "Maybe you should sit down," he said. I bit back a smirk. "Perfect, my place is just down the street," I offered smoothly, tilting my head slightly, letting my hair fall just enough to frame my face. "Come inside with me?" He hesitated for a second. Too long. I could see the war in his eyes, the tension in his stance. But he followed, of course he did. Inside, the air was thick, charged. I poured him a drink, deliberately brushing against him as I set the glass down. Every movement was calculated, just close enough, just teasing enough to blur the lines between an accident and an invitation. I leaned against the counter, swirling my wine, letting my dress ride up slightly as I crossed my legs. His eyes dipped lower, and when they met mine again, there was no hesitation. "What are we doing?" he asked, voice tight, conflicted. I smirked, setting my glass down. Whatever we want. The space between us disappeared in an instant. His lips crashed against mine, hands gripping my waist, pulling me flush against him. I moaned into his mouth, threading my fingers through his hair, tugging just enough to make him groan. His hands roamed over my hips, my back sliding beneath my dress. With an urgency that sent heat straight to my core, I pushed him onto the couch, straddling him in one smooth motion. He let out a sharp breath as I rolled my hips against him, teasing. Torturing his fingers dug into my thighs, his eyes dark with hunger. "This is crazy," he rasped against my neck, his lips trailing down, sending shivers through me. I laughed, arching into him, gasping as his teeth grazed my skin. "Then stop," I challenged. He couldn't. And as I rocked against him, as his hands explored every inch of me, as we lost ourselves completely in the moment, I knew this was exactly what I had been craving. And now that I had it, I wasn't about to stop. Once wasn't enough, not even close. That first night ignited something inside me, something I hadn't felt in years. The thrill, the fire, the way my body responded like it had been starving. And Jake, he was just as hooked. The next time I didn't bother with an excuse. I sent a single text now. Minutes later, he was at my door. No hesitation, no guilt. The second the door clicked shut, his hands were on me hot, urgent, possessive. I barely had time to gasp before he lifted me, pressing me against the wall, his body slotting perfectly against mine. "This is wrong," he whispered, but his mouth was already at my neck, his hands sliding beneath my dress. I smirked, tilting my head back. "Then why does it feel so good?" He groaned, gripping my thighs, pulling me tighter against him. And I laughed breathlessly. I loved this, the tension. The rush, the way he couldn't keep his hands off me. We never made it far. Sometimes it was against the kitchen counter. Sometimes it was on the couch. Sometimes it was the hallway. Clothes barely pushed aside in our desperation. Every moment was fevered, frantic. Pure need. Jake was strong, eager, relentless. He handled me like he was making up for lost time, like every second without me had been a slow torture. And I soaked it in, the way he gripped me like he couldn't get enough, the way his lips dragged over my skin, the way he lost himself completely in me. I felt worshipped, devoured. And when it was over, when I lay beneath him, spent and breathless, my body humming with satisfaction, I didn't feel guilty, I felt alive. I stretched fingers, tracing lazy patterns over his chest. A slow, satisfied smile curving my lips again. I murmured, rolling onto him, loving the way his breath hitched, the way his hands instantly found my waist, because I wasn't done with him. Not even close. The affair was everything I craved, reckless. Thrilling, indulgent, I had Jake completely lost in me, his body and mind drawn into the heat we created. He wasn't just responding to my touch. He was addicted to it, but what I didn't see coming was Emily. The knock on my door was sharp, unexpected. My pulse jumped as I straightened my dress, smoothing out invisible creases. When I opened it, Emily stood there. Her face wasn't twisted in rage. Her voice wasn't shaking with betrayal. No, she looked composed. Too composed, "Can we talk?" she asked, stepping past me before I could answer. I shut the door, heartbeat hammering. "Emily, I know," the words settled between us, heavy, undeniable. I stayed silent, waiting for the slap, the accusations, the confrontation I'd expected. But Emily just sat down, crossing one leg over the other, her eyes steady on me. "You and Jake?" she said, voice low, almost calculating how long I swallowed. Lying was pointless a little while. She nodded slowly, as if she had already pieced it together. A beat of silence stretched the air, charged with something I couldn't place. And then she surprised me. "I don't want to lose him," she admitted. "But I also don't want to pretend I don't see what's happening." I leaned forward, intrigued. "Then what do you want?" Emily's lips curled slightly. And for the first time, I saw something in her eyes that I hadn't noticed before. A glint of curiosity, of daring. I want in my breath caught. I had expected anger tears. A messy ending. Not this you want. Emily tilted her head, watching me carefully. Jake's drawn to you, I get it. I've seen how he looks at you, how he loses himself, but what if we don't have to choose? Her words wrapped around me, warm, intoxicating. My pulse quickened. Was this happening? She smirked as if reading my thoughts. So, Sophie, are you willing to share? The night air was thick, charged with something electric. As the three of us sat in my dimly lit living room, Emily was relaxed, leaning back against the couch, her fingers tracing slow patterns on her own knee. Jake sat between us, his eyes shifting, waiting, unsure but undeniably intrigued. I reached for my wine glass. Taking a slow sip, tell me, Emily, I murmured, letting my voice drop into something softer, something smoother. What is it exactly that you want? She turned to me, her lips parting slightly. I want to understand, she admitted. I want to feel what he feels when he's with you. Her fingers ghosted along the arm of the couch, her gaze locked onto mine. It was an invitation, a challenge, and I had no intention of denying her. I leaned closer, slow, deliberate. Jake's breath hitched between us. Then let me show you, I reached out. My fingertips grazing Emily's cheek, testing her lips parted just slightly. A sharp inhale, betraying the nerves that trembled beneath her composure. Jake was frozen, watching, and then Emily moved. She turned into my touch, pressing closer, letting her lips brush against mine. Not hesitant, not shy, but exploring, testing the waters of something entirely new. Jake exhaled sharply, his body shifting as he watched. I deepened the kiss just enough to tease, to let her feel the slow burn of surrender. And she did, melting into it. Her fingers tightening on my arm. Jake couldn't resist any longer. His hands found my waist, pulling me closer. His breath hot against my skin. I smiled against Emily's lips, before breaking away just enough to glance at him. Enjoying the view, I murmured. Jake groaned, his fingers tightening around me, as he kissed me with the same hunger I had come to know so well. But this time Emily was there. Her presence adding to the thrill. The heat fingers tangled. Bodies pressed, every touch igniting something new. Something unspoken. Emily's hand skimmed over Jake's shoulders, her curiosity transforming into something bolder. I turned to her, watching the way she looked at me, the way her breath hitched when I ran my fingers down her arm. I smirked. I think you like this more than you expected. She didn't deny it. We moved together, an unspoken rhythm taking over, blending into something seamless, a shared desire, a connection that none of us had expected. But all of us craved. Jake's hands roamed, guiding, taking as Emily and I explored, learning each other's edges, each other's reactions. There were no doubts now, no hesitations, just pleasure. Just three bodies tangled in a perfect storm, giving into something deeper, something raw and untamed. And the best part, it was just the beginning. Morning light poured in, painting lazy shadows over our tangled limbs. The sheets smelled like warmth, like comfort, like us. Jake stirred beside me, his hand sliding over my hip. His touch familiar, possessive. Across from me, Emily stretched her fingers, grazing mine, as she let out a soft hum of satisfaction. I smiled, no guilt. No regrets, just something real. Something right? Emily turned her head toward me, a playful smirk tugging at her lips. So she murmured, voice still thick with sleep. I think I see why Jake got so hooked. Jake chuckled, pressing a kiss to my shoulder before reaching for Emily, pulling her into his chest. Unexpected, she added, running a lazy finger down his arm. But perfect, and it was... We had rewritten the rules, Created something that belonged only to us. Not a secret, not a betrayal. Just pleasure, just connection, just ours as I lay there feeling the heat of their bodies beside me. The satisfaction throbbing through my veins. I knew one thing for sure. This was exactly where I was meant to be. That's it, no regrets. No second guessing, just 3. People who found exactly what they were looking for. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think? Was this the perfect ending, or do you think it was bound to fall apart? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your support helps this channel grow. And trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.